Hey, today we are working on something completely different. I am going to show you how to make a light creamy textured facial coffee scrub. This is a coffee scrub that I used to sell, but this is a slightly different formula for it. We're going to go over 24 ounces of this coffee scrub, which is also 680 grams. So if you're interested, keep watching. The first ingredient we're going to add in is our emulsifying wax. We're going to add in this emulsifying wax to help to mix the ingredients together. It helps to mix the oils and the butters together. It gives it that nice lotion texture, and it helps to combine the ingredients, which in the end will give you a more uniformed looking mixture. So the next ingredient we're going to add is our stearic acid. We're going to add 24 grams of stearic acid. This is 4% in the mixture. By doing this, it will help to thicken the mixture and also helps with that kind of lotiony texture that we're looking for, but it's not going to be that thick because we're adding like a low percentage of it. The next ingredient we're going to go ahead and add is our shea butter. So you want to make sure you have your glass beaker available so you can weigh out your shea butter. And this is the beaker that we're going to use to combine all our ingredients and melt it. So back to the shea butter in our facial scrub. The shea butter is going to add moisturizing properties to our facial scrub. It's also going to add to the texture. And this is why a lot of people use shea butter in their scrubs. So it's going to take our facial scrub from like 0 to 100 real quick. So the next step we're going to do is combine all our ingredients into one glass beaker so that we can take it to our heating department to melt it together so all the ingredients can combine seamlessly. Now you don't have to do it how I did and weigh them out separately. You can just weigh them out in the beaker, but I wanted to weigh them out separately so you can see the different ingredients that I'm adding into the product. All right. Once all our ingredients are melted down, we're going to remove them from the heat and we're going to go ahead and add our carrier oils. My first carrier oil I'm adding is, of course, my baobab oil. Yes, that's the first carrier oil I'm going to add in. And once you start adding in the carrier oil, you're going to notice that the mixture kind of starts thickening up a bit, and that's because the carrier oil is a bit cooler than the warm texture, so it's going to thicken it up a bit. It is not that much of a problem depending on how much work you want to do in the end, but if this was a thick mixture, I wouldn't do it like this because I know that in the end it would be thicker and it'd be harder to mix. So since this is thin, I can do this because I know it won't be hard to whip it out of the ingredient. Some people do go ahead and add in all the emulsifying wax and everything and the oils together and melt it down. The reason why I don't do that is because the emulsifying wax and the stearic acid, it takes a lot of heat to get it to melt down, and I don't want to I don't want to burn my oils while they're in there, so I like to separate them, in order to get a proper mixture and not have any accidents. As you can see here, I am currently using my stirring rod to mix the ingredients together, and as you notice, the heat from the melted wax and butter is also melting that thick, whatever thick product is in there is being melted by the heat that's already in the product from what we did previously. So that's another way that we can melt down, the thick particles that may be forming inside our formulation. The next thing we're going to do is add our second carrier oil. You do not need 2 carrier oils. I add 2 carrier oils because I like how it comes out. I think that was probably my metafoam seed oil I added, or my sweet almond oil, one of them. However, I am adding my second carrier oil to the mixture. You will notice that I did change the container. That is because when I was adding my second carrier oil, my beaker was too small. I should have used a larger beaker, but I didn't. So instead, I switched it out and started using my Anchor. I think this is a half quart, my Anchor half quart glass bowl in order to mix the products together. So I just added whatever was in the beaker to my second carrier oil instead. Now that we've combined all the oils, what we're going to do is put it in the freezer or to solidify, so that way once it's solidified, we can go ahead and mix the ingredients together. Now that it did solidify, we take it out of the freezer or wherever you keep yours to solidify, and we're going to get our hand mixer or overhead mixer and whip the ingredients together. So what the whipping is going to do is combine all ingredients, and it's also going to create texture. So instead of it just being one big solid block, it's going to whip it up and turn it into a form of cream or lotion texture. But as you can see here, this is a bit on the thinner side. So because it's on the thinner side, it is like much easier to whip together, and it's not like thick cream lotiony, but like a thin kind of, I would say like a light gel watery type of texture, which is completely fine because it does feels good on the skin still. So even though it was already a little bit thin, and I know it's going to be a thin mixture, I did go ahead and put it back in the freezer to make it harder. So not what you see in here is what usually an emulsified scrub is like when it's time to mix it up. That is what you're going to see, that type of texture there. But even though I put it in, if you notice, I put it in the freezer for some more time, and it's really the top, you know, it's just a little bit thicker, but it's still kind of thinning out. Now if I were making a thicker scrub, once it was hard like that, it would just automatically just turn into a cream, so it wouldn't thin out at all. It wouldn't thin out at all. Now for the best part, it's time to add our exfoliant. Now what I want to tell you guys, right, sometimes you see some scrub recipes and they have a percentage of sugar, and you might want to substitute and put coffee, but what happens sometimes, it becomes too rough, because for some reason, if you have like 60% sugar, it doesn't feel as harsh. It doesn't feel as harsh as 60% coffee. And depending on the type of mixture, it might be too much. So in this facial scrub, it's supposed to be a soft facial scrub. Still gets the exfoliation done, but I didn't want it to be too rough since it's for your face. So we added 30% coffee into this mixture. Now we will go ahead and mix in the coffee with the mixture that we have on the bottom. So our emulsified mixture on the bottom, we're going to go ahead and just mix in our coffee grounds. Just mix it in, you know, put some, you know, hand power in it, and mix it together until it's like fully combined. Another tip I like to use is getting my my hand mixer, and once all of my coffee is combined with my emulsified mixture, I go ahead and mix it in with the hand mixer. What this does is gets everything incorporated together. Also, I noticed when you do it with a coffee scrub, it kind of, I don't know if it makes the coffee scrubs even finer, but when you put it on your face, it's not as rough. It changes the texture of the coffee grounds themselves when you mix it up together. So that's why I mix it together, because I do see a difference of when I don't mix it and when I do mix it. So I started just mixing them together. Another thing what it does, when you add the coffee grounds and you mix it, it changes, you know, the color of our whipped scrub. It gives it a more like a light brownish color instead of that dark black color, because what it's doing is like whipping up the base once again. Once all of your coffee scrub is completely combined, you want to go ahead and get your jar of your choice, your container, whatever it is that you plan to put this in, and you want to go ahead and pour it in. Okay, so because this is a thinner texture, I would pour it in instead. If you put this in a piping bag, it's going to run straight through the piping bag, so it doesn't even make sense to put it in there. But if you want to, you can try it to make it more precise maybe. but I go ahead and I just pour it into my jars on top of my scale, just so I can see how much I'm actually putting into each jar, making sure it is 4 ounces and it's not less or over the amount that I'm supposed to put in the jar. So the moment of truth, now we are actually testing it on our faces, well, my face. I'm testing it to see what the texture is like, and as you can see, I'm continuously rubbing it because it feels good, so I should keep rubbing it on my cheeks, rubbing it on, I think I just did a test on the lower part of my face. I don't know why I didn't do a full face. I think I was being lazy, but I did test it out to see how it feels. You can see the texture. You can see that, you know, the coffee isn't falling all over the place. You can see that it's being held together on my skin. You can see the thin milky texture that I, you know, promised you'd get from this mixture, and it is doing a great job exfoliating as I promised. Now, if you enjoyed this and you want to see more like this, definitely comment below and tell me you want to see more videos like this, more tutorials. If not, if you're just watching this, then thanks for watching, and go ahead and watch one of my other videos where I share with you the type of ingredients that you can put inside of your face scrub or body scrub. So yeah, have a good day.